Before we begin, I want you to do something. I want you to think about the one dream you have almost stopped believing in. Not the small goal, not the safe goal, not the goal that feels reasonable. I mean the dream that makes your logical mind uncomfortable. The dream that feels too big, too far away, too unlikely. The dream that sometimes keeps you awake at night. The dream you secretly want but rarely talk about. Maybe it's financial freedom, maybe it's a loving relationship, maybe it's healing, maybe it's a successful business, maybe it's a completely different life. Now let me ask you another question. What if the only reason that dreams feels impossible is because you are measuring it from where you are standing today? Think about that. Imagine someone who's standing at the bottom of a mountain. The summit looks impossible, the distance looks impossible, the climb looks impossible. But for the person standing on the summit, there is nothing impossible about it. It's simply where they are. And that's one of the biggest misunderstandings people have about manifestation. They judge their future using their present circumstances. They look at their current bank account and decide what is possible. They look at their current relationship and decide what love is available. They look at their current health and decide what healing is realistic. They look at where they are and use that evidence for where they can go. But what if your future does not need permission from your present? What if your next chapter does not need approval from your previous chapter? Because if you look closely at your own life, you will notice something fascinating. Many things that feel normal to you today once felt impossible. Think about it. The job you have, the skills you have developed, the people you have met, the opportunities you have experienced. There was a time when none of these things existed. There was a time when they lived only in possibility and in your dreams, and yet somehow they became real. So maybe the real question is not, is my dream possible? Maybe the real question is, why am I so convinced it is impossible? Because most people don't create a future, they predict one. And prediction is very different from creation. Most people wake up every day and use yesterday as evidence for tomorrow. They use old experiences, old disappointments, old failures, old limitations, and when they unconsciously copy and paste the past into the future again and again and again. Now, this isn't your fault. It's simply how the logical mind works. The logical mind is designed to keep you safe. It constantly scans your past experiences and asks, what happened before? What usually happens? What is realistic? What is predictable? And that's useful when you are crossing a busy road. But it is not useful when you are trying to create a completely different life, because your greatest dreams usually have no evidence, no proof, no guarantees, no roadmap. That's why the logical mind often labels them impossible. Not because they are impossible, but because they are unfamiliar. And unfamiliar things make the mind uncomfortable. The mind says, no one in your family has done this. You have never done this before. What if it doesn't work? What if you fail? What if you are disappointed again? But here is what I want you to remember. Your mind is a commentator, not a prophet. It comments on what it already knows. It does not determine what is possible. Just because your mind cannot explain how something will happen does not mean it cannot happen. Think about some of the biggest breakthroughs in human history. At one point, people believed flying was impossible. At one point, people believed communicating instantly across the world was impossible. At one point, people believed many diseases could never be treated. The impossible became possible because someone was willing to believe beyond current evidence. Now, let me share something very powerful. There are really two versions of you. There is a version of you sitting here right now listening to this audio, and there is a version of you who already has what you want. The version who has already built the business, already found the relationship, already healed, already created abundance, already became confident, already achieved the dream. And here is the important part. The future version of you thinks differently, feels differently, makes decisions differently, sees opportunities differently, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be living a different reality. Which means the goal is not simply getting what you want. The goal is becoming the version of you who naturally experiences it. Now, this is where imagination becomes incredibly important. Most people underestimate imagination. They treat it like fantasy, like daydreaming, like something children do. But imagination is one of the most powerful tools you possess, because imagination allows you to mentally visit possibilities before they physically arrive. Now, I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Now, imagine 6 months from now, the thing you want has already happened. Not almost happened, not about to happen, it has already happened. The business is thriving, the relationship exists, the healing has occurred, the opportunity has arrived, your business has expanded. Now ask yourself, how do you walk? How do you speak? How do you feel? How do you think? What would be different about you from your present self? Because the more familiar you become with the version of yourself in the future, the easier it becomes to move towards that reality. Now, here is why most people sabotage themselves. They believe the problem is doubt. It is not. You don't need perfect faith, you don't need zero fear, you don't need complete certainty. In fact, think about your own life. Have there been times when you doubted something would happen, but it happened any which ways? Of course, there have been many. I'm sure there have been many in everybody's life. So doubt is really not the problem. The problem is resistance. Resistance happens when you make your doubt mean something. You feel doubt and immediately conclude it won't happen. You feel fear and immediately conclude I am not ready. You feel uncertainty and immediately conclude I am failing. But what if you stop doing that? What if every time doubt appeared, you simply said, even with this doubt, it is still possible. Even with this fear, it is still possible. Even with this uncertainty, it is still possible. Can you feel the difference? So instead of fighting the doubt, you are releasing resistance around it. You are allowing possibility to remain open. You are allowing yourself for the divine power to enter your life, because what divine power, divine grace does behind the curtains is not always visible till it is manifested in your life. So you learn to have faith and to let go. So you are allowing the possibility to remain open, and that changes everything. Now let's talk about the second thing that blocks manifestation, that is attachment. Now this one is very sneaky, because most people don't even realize they are doing it. Attachment sounds like something, I'll be happy when this happens. I'll finally relax when I get the money. I'll finally feel loved when the relationship arrives. I'll finally feel successful when I reach that goal. Do you see the problem? You have handed your emotional power to an external circumstance. You have decided that something outside of you controls how you feel inside. Now that's very exhausting, especially when it keeps happening second to second on a daily basis, because it keeps happiness permanently in the future. Instead, I want you to remember a simple phrase, I want it, but I don't need it. That does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you stop desiring. It means you stop depending on it for your emotional well-being. You can stop making your peace conditional. You stop postponing your joy for tomorrow. Because the truth is, most people are not chasing money. They are chasing the feeling they believe money will give them. Security, freedom, pride. So most people are not chasing relationships. They are chasing connection, love, belonging. Most people are not chasing success. They are chasing significance, fulfillment, confidence. And here is the beautiful realization. Many of those feelings can begin right today, before anything changes externally. You can choose self-respect today. You can choose gratitude today. You can choose confidence today. You can choose love today. And when you start generating internally what you have been seeking externally, something gradually shifts. You stop chasing, you start attracting. Now let me tell you something nobody talks about. There will be a period when nothing appears to be happening. This is the stage where most people quit. You visualize, you imagine, you grow, you shift internally, and the outer world looks exactly the same. The money is not there, the relationship is not yet there, the breakthrough you have not achieved, and you start wondering, is this really working? Here is what I have learned. The most important changes often happen invisibly first. Think about planting a seed. For weeks, nothing seems to happen. You water it, you nurture it, you wait, and it looks like absolutely nothing is changing. But beneath the surface, everything is changing. Roots are growing, life is developing, and a foundation is being built. Manifestation often works the same way. Conversations are happening, people are moving, opportunities are forming, ideas are developing, and doors are opening. You simply can't see it yet. And because you can't see it, you assume it is not happening. But that's exactly when persistence matters most, because the people who eventually experience extraordinary results are often the people who stayed committed during the invisible phase. They kept going when there was no evidence, they kept believing when logic said otherwise, they kept becoming the future version of themselves long before reality reflected it back. And eventually something remarkable happened, a tipping point, a convergence, a moment when everything suddenly made sense. The impossible became possible, the dream became normal, and the future became present. And then they look back and realize something, that the breakthroughs don't happen overnight. It the breakthroughs were happening quietly, unfolding all along. So, if there's one thing I want you to remember today, it's this: your current reality is not the final chapter of your story. The impossible is often just something your present circumstances cannot explain it yet. So, keep imagining, keep growing, keep becoming. Release resistance, release attachment, and keep moving forward. Because one day you will look back at the thing that once felt impossible, and you will wonder why you ever doubted it. If this message resonated with you, comment below, I choose possibility. I would love to read your comments. I'm Awesome from Divine Gracia. Until next time, trust your vision, trust your journey, and remember, the life you desire may already be moving towards you, even if you can't see it yet. Take